Hello, welcome to another edition of the Fifth Quarter. I'm Mike Ciarochi, sports editor of Herald-Standard.com, joined as usual by George Von Benko, author of Memory Lane and radio personality at WMBS. Of course, today we are here to speak about the Steelers' 32-20 win over the Arizona Cardinals on Sunday. Could be one of the more complete games the Steelers have turned in this year, George.
Yeah, and it's even more pleasing because it was on the road. They have not played well on the road. I looked at it and I thought it was, for lack of a better term, a very workmanlike performance. They did what they needed to do. There were a couple of things that I didn't like. The disappearance of the running game once again. They did not run the ball very well. They did not run the ball very well. But they did a lot of other things well. Defensively, they played pretty well, except for that one breakdown on the screen pass to LaRod Stevens-Hollins. There was a breakdown there.
Right. Yeah. But, you know, as Coach Tomlin said post-game, he liked the way his defense and offense both bounced back from that. You know, it's a large measure what kind of team you are, not necessarily the adversity that you face, but how you deal with it. Yeah, because they came right back
and got a field goal after that. There were some really good. I mean, Mike Wallace continues to just shine, and Antonio Brown, 215 yards, I believe, all-purpose yards.
Yeah,
I mean, every time he touches the football, he's exciting.
Yeah, and you know, Emmanuel Sanders as well had 5 catches out of 7 targets. But I wanted to look now here at the running game, first half to second half. Yeah, the Steelers were held to 8 yards rushing in the first half on only 4 attempts, 4 carries. But they did rebound somewhat in the second half. You know, they ran as a team for 91 yards with a 3.3 average, which isn't bad. So they kind of battled back, and of course they were playing with the lead in the second half, got more to the running game. So that kind of all worked itself out. You know,
but I have I mentioned Mike Wallace, but I have a question for you. Can we really, you know, the question was asked to the coach after the game, what do you take out of these 3 wins? And what can you really take out of the 3 wins because of who you were playing against and the way they were playing at the time you played them? I still think the jury is somewhat out on the season for the Steelers and the way they're playing.
Right, of course it is. But you know what? I don't know how Coach Tomlin answered that. I don't recall.
He just said, paraphrasing, that I don't try and overanalyze. He said, you know, the main thing was we got the win, and that's what we're playing for.
Right.
You know,
and they can't control who they play, when they play them, where they play them. That's all done by the league. They put up the schedule. Hey, you can only beat the teams you're scheduled to play. You can't try to go 16-0 on any given day.
But what I'm looking at is more style points. There still are some things that are happening.
Ask the coach about style points. He'll tell you, right? They don't count.
They don't count in the win column. But there still are some things. I mean, when you get into New England and Baltimore, you better do some things a little bit better.
But you know, when you look at it the other way. From the same question posed from the other perspective, you know, they didn't play well in Baltimore, and they didn't play well in Houston, but those are 2 pretty good teams, and those are both road games. Now that's what I like about where they're sitting right now. They're 5-2 with back-to-back home games coming up against very formidable opponents.
And I don't think the coach is going to have any problems getting their attention this week.
No. I asked Mike Wallace after the game yesterday. I said, you know, being an offensive player and a long-distance scoring threat just about on every play, you must. I said, does it give you any extra added juice knowing that the, I guess you could call them maybe the inventors of the forward passing game? I don't know. Well, that may be carrying it a bit far. But New England, I mean, they're the epitome of offensive. Passing offensive football, and he said, of course, he said it juices him up. You know, he's very anxious to get in there. He said he took no personal gratitude out of having a better game, perhaps, than Larry Fitzgerald did. The probably unquestioned best receiver in football is Larry Fitzgerald, and you know these guys don't go against each other, but Mike Wallace did say, there's nothing he would like. He said, we owe them. We owe New England.
Well, there's no question New England has been a thorn in the Steelers' side for years. I found it interesting, and as I watched the game unfold, he was getting hit quite a bit, but Deerdorf made a point several times during the game to point out Roethlisberger, his toughness. He played well, but he took a beating.
Yeah,
he got hit.
He took a couple good shots, yeah. Completed 26 of 39 for 361. 2 sacks, which you don't like them, but hey, one of them they really didn't like. That was former Steeler. Not Joey Porter. Who's the other former Steeler?
Clark Higgins.
Clark Higgins got one of his sacks, yeah. But on this game, the 95-yard touchdown pass from Ben Roethlisberger to Mike Wallace,
which is the longest touchdown pass in Steeler history.
That's right. There was a longer play, 97-yard run. Somebody in the 40s. I don't know. The name doesn't come to mind right now. It's in my story on Herald-Standard.com.
It's not Lynn Shadnoise, is it?
No, it was a running play.
A running play. Okay. But anyway, it got Mark Malone out of the record book.
Put him in second place.
People think of him as a quarterback, but he hooked up in Seattle. I remember the play very well.
I believe he was already out of that record book. The longest pass play prior to this one, Cordell Stewart was the quarterback.
Yeah, but it was still 90 yards. There were 4 plays of 90 yards.
Yeah.
Cordell Stewart was one of them. Another one was Dwight Stone caught one. In fact, Dwight Stone caught 2 of them.
Yeah.
Dwight Hands of Stone.
Yeah. I remember the one play did not go for a touchdown. He inexplicably stepped out of bounds on his way to the end zone.
But it was fun to watch. There were a lot of good things happening. I thought the defense, Ike Taylor. Yeah, he got penalized. He gave up 78 yards, but he's playing against the best receiver in football, and he played him tough.
Right. For the majority of the game, and what I mean by that is not counting the last drive when Arizona really had no shot at winning the game, he held Larry Fitzgerald to 2 catches. And Larry caught a couple more in the last series. Oh yeah, if you can keep Larry Fitzgerald out of the end zone and hold him to 4 catches out of 10 targets, which is incredible. They obviously kept going to him. They didn't. The Cardinals didn't think that Ike Taylor was up to the task, but he certainly proved he was.
Ike keeps proving people wrong because he always draws the best receiver, and for the most part, Ike gives a pretty good account of himself.
Oh yeah,
you got to say that.
Right.
I don't think he gets the credit that he is due. I think the other thing that I wondered about as the game unfolded, because you're watching Wiz and Hunt and the other guys on the sideline, and the announcers pointed out several times, this is Kevin Cobb's 5th year in the league. But he's a relatively untested quarterback. This was his 14th start, I think.
Yeah.
And it showed at times.
A little bit. Yeah. He got a big play on the check down pass to LaRod Stevens-Howling. For one of their scores, hit early Doucette for the other one.
The early turnover was nice too.
Yes.
That was much welcomed.
Big key getting that early in the game. We touched briefly on the running game. It was fairly non-existent through the first half. But when you look at the numbers, 28 carries is a good bit. Where, as I mentioned, they were playing with the lead and trying to run the ball out. But a 3.3 average in that situation is not bad.
No, it's not. And then I did like at the end of the game, at the end of the ball game when they took the air out of the ball, but they were able to run a little bit effectively in that situation, which is something we have not seen them do.
They would run a couple. It seemed to me from the press box anyway that they would run a few plays, get in the third down situation,
and then he'd hit a pass.
Expecting them to run the ball again, maybe punt. They were able to hit some passes there late in the game. I want to take a peek at the defensive stats.
One thing I did want to mention too, Woodley is one thing, but another key factor was Speedy Wells going out when he did, because he still was churning a little bit at that point, and they're still not sure how serious that is.
Speaking of injuries, the only one of note from Mike Tomlin was Hines Ward. I believe it was an ankle sprain.
But they're leaving a seat on the bus for him.
Oh, yeah, they are. They're going to keep a seat on the bus for him, even for a home game.
Even for a home game.
Yeah.
We would be remiss. We got to talk about defense. We got to talk about whittling those guys. We would be remiss if we did not say something about Aaron Smith.
Yes,
because it appears right now that it may be.
Well, his season is over, and his career is probably hanging by a thread. You hate to say that. Aaron's such a great guy, but even early in the season when he was playing, and I think he would, if he were sitting here with us, he'd be the first second, or third to say it, that he was not playing up to snuff. He's aging, as we all do. And it's starting to show.
Yeah, it is. But I get back to what I said to some other people on my talk show. You cannot measure what he meant to this team by his play on the field, and also what a guy in the locker room.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, terrific guy in the locker room. And a great player. I want to make sure I totally agree with you on that. And what that means is one Evander Ziggy Hood becomes your starter.
And Ziggy said he's comfortable with that position.
Yeah, he's doing all right.
How about Steve McLennan in his first start? He didn't do that badly.
Right, no, he did all right. And now's the time you would kind of hope you're going to get some of those other defensive guys who have been out back. But that's another issue for our next show. But we did want to talk about Lamar Woodley. It was kind of comic. We were talking to him after the game, and he was counting the safety as a sack. And
okay.
He got the sack on the intentional grounding in the end zone by Cobb. He looked up and said, "Oh, you're kidding me! I don't get a sack for that." Nope, sorry, just a safety.
Just a safety.
He'll have to settle for the 2 sacks and 15 yards in losses. The only 2 sacks the Steelers registered. He's also very active otherwise. So seven. Well,
I was going to mention it is after some of the games he had early in the year. Isn't it great to see him being there? And actually, I'll tell you who else was noticeable. Even though he only had 3 tackles, but Lawrence Timmons was noticeable. He was in and around the football all day long.
Yeah, yes, he was. And he also got a credited with a Q. Let me see what that is. A quarterback hurry or a quarterback hit?
Q is a quarterback.
It's not listed. It must be a quarterback hit.
It must be a QH, which is a quarterback hit.
Yeah, it is down here and it's not up here. Go figure. But anyway, he's coming around. The 2 big money guys on the defense. Well, 2 of many big money guys on the defense. The 2 newest big money guys are starting to come through.
Not to be confused with young money on the offense.
You mentioned McClendon. He ended up with 5 tackles, including 4 solo. That's
I thought he acquitted himself very well. Yeah. So, I mean, I was happy. It was a win on the road. They took care. The main thing is they took care of business. Is what you have to do in this league from week to week.
Mm-hmm. And let's look through here. Anything else?
Well, as I said, I want to get back to Antonio Brown. Is he exciting every time he touches a punt or a kickoff?
We've been saying for how many weeks now, he's this close to breaking one. He keeps getting closer and closer and closer. Can't think of a better time to do it than in any one of the next 2 weeks. It would be
nice to do that against the Patriots and the Ravens. I would like to see that.
It goes back to it was an AFC Championship game in Pittsburgh, was it not? That New England came in, and I believe Troy Brown
hurt him bad.
Yeah, they had a blocked field goal return for a touchdown and a punt return for a touchdown in that game.
Well, but that brings us to the end of this. A good win, and now you look ahead, and we'll talk about the New England Patriots on our next installment.
All right, hey, and with that, I want to thank everyone for tuning in. We will see you next time.